Okay, people. So with a pay-per-view, we get the early prelims. So here we have three fights, and boy, these are interesting. You know what I mean? Got some interesting joints for you, right? So we start off with the middleweights. We have Christopher Ewert against Jackson McVee. All right, so El Tank, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Christopher Ewert. He is 31, 6'1". We don't have his reach. Right, we don't have his reach, but he's on a 7-fight win streak. The old Chilean, right? And a new Chilean to the roster. He last fought in January. Won a unanimous decision. Right before that, though, he's been taking people out. Right? There's a lot of stoppages from Christopher. He knows how to do damage. And he's been getting people out in the first round. Right? Out of his 7 fights, just 2 went the distance. Everything else, first round brutality. Right? So, that is our first debuting fighter, right? Now, he's going up against someone else new to the promotion, Jackson McVee, the Moose. All right, the Moose is making his debut. He is 26, 6'4", 77-inch reach, and he's on a win streak. 11 fights here. All right, man, we are getting some talent up in the spot right now. He has fought 4 times for the LFA, right? And the regional scene, there's so many different little promotions and everything, but if you're coming from the LFA, right, Fury FC, there's certain promotions, Cage Warriors, where you're like, okay, that's I know that they're fighting some legitimate people there. You know what I mean? So 4 fights in the LFA is not bad at all. And he last fought Rotted on the 13th of June. Right? It was a first round finish though. Got dude out there quick. So there is that. Let me just check because, sometimes it's hard to see things. And I might have misread the last one. No, last dude was January, right? So Christopher's last fight was January. But yeah, Jackson's last fight was on the 13th of June. So just a couple of weeks ago, Yeah, couple of weeks. I think that's a couple of weeks, right? But yes, as I said, stoppage. Now, he does like to finish fights, right? Does like to finish fights. So he has got he's got his professional fights and his amateur ones. And in his professional fights, I think, everything's for stoppage. Right? Now, he's got more subs than KOs. Right? Actually, no, I think it's even. On subs and KOs. So, very versatile. Right? Very versatile. And on his amateur career, man, he liked a triangle. He did like a triangle, So, man, he's been putting in work. This is an intriguing fight, right? And I think when you look at it on paper, it's like it's easy to go with Ewart, right? Because he last fought in January, so he's had more time to rest and, work out any kinks. But there is something to fighting more recently, because you're still kind of, you're riding off of that original training camp. You're loose, right? You're ready, And he's 26, right? Jackson is 26. So, man, this motherfucker is probably ready to go every weekend. And I think looking at it as well, McVeigh has got, as I say, he's got equal knockouts to submissions. So that kind of tells you that, there's some versatility there. There's some versatility. So I am going to go with Jackson McVeigh, but they're both making their debut. So anything can happen, right? And they're both on long streaks. Ewart's on a 7-fight winning streak. Jackson's on an 11-fight winning streak. So they're both very much looking to make that big splash, right? So, it should be a fun one to open things up. Next, we're with the heavyweights. I think that is it's our sole heavyweight clash on the card, right? We have got Jonata Denise against Alvin Hines. Right? So, Denise, he's 34, 6'4", 79.5-inch reach. He's coming off a loss, right, in his last bout. Right, he's currently 2-1 in the UFC. Came via the Contender Series. Right, he lost to Marcin Tabora. It was a doctor's stoppage in the second round. Right, that was November 2024. So, he's been out a little bit, rehabbing and all of that jazz. Before that, right, made his debut, knocked out Austin Lane in the second round. And then he beat Carl Williams via decision. And he's got, Denise has definitely got skills, right? He knows how to finish his opposition. Right? Got a lot of first round finishes. He has kickboxed, right? So kicks are there, which is always a good thing, especially with heavyweights, right? Because we don't necessarily a lot of heavyweights with, really serious kicking game. So if you've got that in your back pocket, and you can do some shit, right? You can do some shit. Now, he is going up against Goozy Alvin Hines. Right, now, I've watched some of his fights in the LFA. Alvin's 33, 6'2", 74-inch reach on a 10-fight winning streak. You know what I mean? So he has got a big streak. And as I said, look, I think the LFA is a very good promotion. He's 5-0 there. I will say, right, I did feel some of the fights I've seen him fight, it kind of felt like he's meant to win that fight. You know what I mean? And I don't think, well, it's not even I don't think, I know Hines won't be able to get away with some of the mistakes and, his attack can be a little sloppy. His defense, right, going in arms down. You know what I mean? He can't get away with that in the UFC. You know, so this will be an interesting one to show how good Hines actually is. Right? He does like to wrestle, but again, when looking at his past opposition, now it is difficult because heavyweight, you have big people, but they're not always that skilled, you know, and big promotions will snap up a good heavyweight, right? So on the regionals, you know, the skilled ones are going quickly, so it's hard to get those big fights, right? But I think it'll be interesting if he gets past the knees, we might go, okay, Hines definitely is someone to take a look at, but I don't think he will get past the knees. I'm going with Jonata Denise for the win, you know? So our last fight, our featured fight of the early prelims, we're with the welterweights, you know? And, yeah, it's, again, it's our sole welterweight clash on the card. We have got Jack. No, sorry, not Jack. Jack's later on. We've got Nico Price against Jacoby Smith. Ooh. And yeah, this definitely fun fight written all over it. Right? Fun fight written all over it. You know, that hybrid. Nico Price. He's coming off a loss. Right? Coming off a loss in his last fight. But Price, he's 8-8 with 2 no contests. Which, I mean, it just tells you, 8-8 tells you something, right? That he is willing to step into the fire. And that's Nico Price all over, right? He lost a decision to Themba Gorimbo, right? Themba Gorimbo. Yeah, that was October 2024. Before that, he beat Alex Moreno. Before that, he lost to Robbie Lawler and Phil Rowe, right? It's an up and down situation for Price, but again, he steps into that fire. He steps into that fire, you know? So that's the thing with him. Now he's going up against Kobe, right? Jacoby Smith. He's 29, 5'10", 72-inch reach. And he's on a 10-fight win streak. Super impressive, you know? He's coming off a stellar debut. Came to the UFC via the Contender Series. All right, he beat Preston Parsons left hook first round stoppage. That was in January. And fire is the word when it comes to Smith. You know, very good, right? He's been murking people throughout his career. He has gone the distance a few times, right? So he's got the gas tank. We know that. Now, has he fought someone of the awkwardness of Nico Price? I don't think he has, right? I don't think he has. But I think Jacoby Smith is, he's a potential star, right? So it's how he is in these fights, which will tell us so much. I think he's going to get it done, right? I think he's going to continue to rise. I'm taking Jacoby Smith for a finish. I think we're going to have fireworks, which is the perfect way to lead us into the prelims proper.